Welcome to The Real and the Woo. I'm your host, Laurie Stern. Join me as I invite experts and friends to discuss a range of topics, from the factual and practical to the mystical and magical. Consider this your virtual happy hour filled with lively, authentic, and meaningful conversations meant to inform, inspire, and ignite your curiosity. Whether you are very real or super woo, this podcast is just for you. Welcome to The Real and the Woo. I'm your host, Laurie Stern, and I'm so excited to have my guest with me today, Stephanie Mero. And I met Stephanie, I'm going to say fortunately and unfortunately, because we are both in the same category of former DivaCurl users. And how many years ago was that? Like 5, 6? I don't even know. Randomly, I was having some scalp issues like flakiness, burning, just this crazy stuff going on with my head. And in one of my yoga classes, I had probably talked about it before or after because, I'm full disclosure when I teach. And one of my students said, wait, you use DivaCurl? There's this big lawsuit. All these people are having issues with it. And it was from that statement that I went onto Facebook and found you, because I think at that time you were kind of running this Facebook group. And I know that you sent me your bio, but before we get into it too much, I always just like to have my guests say their stuff in their own words, just makes it easier. So take it away, tell everybody who you are and why you're amazing.
Oh, thank you so much, Laurie, for having me on today. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm excited to talk curly hair and health and wellness with you. So I've been a cosmetologist specializing in curly hair for the last 10 years. So I celebrated a decade this year. I absolutely love working with curls. It's like my native language. Cutting them was the first thing that I got really obsessed with, just shaping the hair. It's very visual art, and that's my favorite kind of art to do. And from there, what happened was about like 4 years in, I was using the DivaCurl products. I had created a YouTube channel. Instagram was still kind of just like before and after pictures of my clients, but I got on YouTube to make videos to try to help people who were coming in to see me who had misinformation about their hair. And I started demonstrating how I did hair using the DivaCurl products, just because that was what I used, not because of any affiliation with the brand. And then, as you mentioned, about 5, 6 years ago, about 2019, I'm seeing some of my clients that I only see once a year, but that have been coming to me for a long time. And I noticed that their hair was completely changed, and they hadn't changed what they were using. They were still following my guidance to use DivaCurl and to finger detangle and to take care of their hair at night. Everything. They were doing everything what I thought was right. And so that was when I realized something might be wrong with the products. Put it on YouTube that I was like, I think something might be wrong. Made a Facebook group, which is what you were referring to see if there were other people having issues. And it totally exploded beyond what I could have ever imagined. Because yes, there were other people having issues all around the world, even though it was, an American line. Anyway, that's where I started learning about health, because I was like, well, these are not just causing hair problems. They're actually causing health problems. Hair loss is a health problem, unlike hair damage. And so now I have journeyed into the world of health. It opened Pandora's box. And now I have helped launch the first ever clean line of curly hair products, which we'll talk about. And I also own, which the only thing I actually own is my hair supplements, Total Hair Plus, to help people both inwardly and outwardly. So that's kind of been the journey.
Gosh. Okay. I want to get to all of that. I do want to talk about your hair care journey for sure, because it was from you and the Facebook group and everything where I'm a mom, you're a mom. We become mother bears, of course, not just when we're going through something, but when we care about the foods we're putting in our bodies, our children's bodies. I became a mom advocate when my kids were going through school for several reasons. What I love about our shared story is you taught me so much about just what was going on with this product, and you dug deeply into the weeds of the packaging, the bottling, like chemicals leaching into the product. It was you, I believe, that discovered, or maybe you just learned that they had quietly sold the company. And then the other company started changing ingredients. And this happens all the time. I follow this girl on Instagram. I don't have IBS, but she does. And she does these like 2 or 3 ingredient desserts, let's say, made with like cottage cheese and cocoa, and looks disgusting, but it tastes great. But she sort of called out, I guess it's cassava chips. They changed their manufacturer. They were bought by, I think, Nestle, let's say. And now there's cassava dust instead of like cassava flour. But unless you're paying attention, you wouldn't notice until your stomach starts acting funny, or like you said with your clients, their hair starts changing, and then we begin to have to wonder why. So would you like to talk about what I know we were all really pissed off and scared. Like I lost hair. I still have a little bit of a bald spot. So I really want to talk about your supplements and hair growth. But that's where my hair started turning gray. So I wasn't necessarily needing to color my hair. I had been, and then I was found to be allergic to PPD. So I have to color my own hair. And I want to talk to you about the website where your products are, because I was just on there last night and there's all these PPD free, truly PPD free hair color on that site that your products also share. It's just chemically, the DivaCurl screwed up my scalp. And then through your story, I began to worry about what it was doing inside of me. And that took me down a negative rabbit hole. Anyway, I mean, who wouldn't, right? So, what did you learn? How did you learn it? What did you enjoy, even though we were all angry about the process?
It was a difficult journey even for me to get to the point of saying, I think the hair products are causing these problems. And like you mentioned with this influencer and like the way that foods can change and you won't notice until your body changes. And I would add to that that even when you notice your body change, you're probably not going to point to the product that you've been using and trusting for so long. And I will admit that I dismissed clients of mine for a while who were saying, I wonder if something's wrong with these products because I could not believe it. And that's because I didn't understand what you've explained that I educated you on was, the way things happen behind the scenes. And, Diva Curl shifting ownership more than once just during the period that I was sharing my digging through social media. These things were happening in real time.
Mm,
And I was learning about that by reading like economics magazine press releases. That wasn't written for me. That was written for investors. But yeah, I'm a sleuth. Like I'll find
mhm.
what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we
But
connect on that for sure. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm like, I don't know for an answer, like I want to know, but I didn't know what I needed to know. Right? Like that's been a journey too. How do I know what questions to ask? How do I know where to look? It was a client that sat in my chair that said, "You know how people shouldn't drink from plastic water bottles? Could that been a factor in what is happening with DivaCurl?" Because actually the ingredient list didn't change. And what happens when a brand is bought by another company, though, or it can happen even when that doesn't happen, is that they can change the packaging and they can also change the source of the ingredients. So different labs are going to have
Mm,
different suppliers of ingredients and they're not all the same. They're not sourced the same. Might not have the same quality of manufacturing and deriving. And so they can have a completely different impact on the formula, on our hair, and on our health. So there's two
mm,
different things that could have happened here. When you see that an ingredient list does not change, what are the other ways that you can still say this product has changed? And one is different sourcing of the ingredients, and the other is the packaging, which is, as you mentioned, chemicals from plastic. For those who aren't aware, leaching, which is migration of chemicals from your packaging into your product. This happens most commonly with plastic, all kinds of plastic. Some are considered to be safer than others based on testing, but based on most recent research, the worst of them all are recycled plastics. And that is actually one of the changes that happened that now I understand through my more recent digging into the whole recycled plastics issue
Mm.
What that is one of the changes that DivaCurl made is they switched from 100% virgin plastic bottles to using at least partially recycled materials. And recycled plastics have had a
Ugh,
whole lifetime of exposure
yeah.
before. And then they're reprocessed, so they're weaker, so they're more likely to leach, and they're more likely to leach more chemicals, more unknown chemicals. So those chemicals themselves are bad, but what reaction do they have with the intentional ingredients? We don't even know because no one is testing the products after they're packaged.
And then, like, how long do they sit on the shelf? Like, that makes a difference. Are they stored heated or cooled? There was all those conversations going on. And I went so far because of the lawsuit. I still have bottles, and I was just thinking, should I throw them away? But there was a change, at least in one of the products, because I had them side by side. Some of the ingredients did change. I don't remember which it was, but again, it was through your exposure and exposing of this information that I was then able to go to my dermatologist because, listen, at the time, so that was 5 years ago, premenopause, going through menopause, postmenopause, women lose their hair. And so, just like you said, you've got a client sitting in your chair. Who's to say it's not hormones? And we all, I believe, as women, start there. And so when I went to my dermatologist, I said, I'm losing my hair. My scalp is so itchy. Of course, I'm having a contact dermatitis of some kind. So she's going to remedy that on the outside. And then through the course of learning with you and like dealing with all this stuff, I was able to go back with the bottles and say, no, this is causing it. Please look at these ingredients and tell me what to do. And so she changed what I was taking and it helped. But basically, just stopping the product was the best remedy of all.
I don't know if you
So,
remember, but I worked with an entire documentary team on a
yes,
documentary
I
called
was
Not
called
So
by them.
Pretty. There was not one ingredient that they could pinpoint professionally with cosmetic chemists where they could say on any of the DivaCurl products, this ingredient causes this level of damage and hair loss. And that's where it's so important that we understand where ingredients are hiding.
Mhm.
Because no company, first of all, no company wants this to happen to their brand. This was absolutely not intentional. I believe it was negligence. And so it wasn't like, oh, they put in something bad that is supposed to have like a good effect on the hair that they knew was gonna, like, damage people's hair and cause hair loss because this has
Mhm.
ruined DivaCurl. They are not the number 1 curly hair brand in the country
Mhm.
anymore. No company wants that to happen. So I think the most obvious place where there might have been, lack of quality control is somewhere like the packaging versus an
Mhm.
ingredient that they intentionally put on their product. But that's just my
Oh,
opinion from the amount of research that I've done.
yeah. I mean, listen, let's say, your hair care brand is going to go global and someday you might sell it. And when you basically give your kid up, you do lose some control. However, my hope is knowing what you know when you get to that point that you'll sell to somebody else, that you remain involved if you care to in the quality control. Because you're right, woman owned business, Diva Curl, I mean, without all of that, none of us would be able to wear our heads the way we do initially. So much learning, the dry haircut, that was where it came
Mhm.
from. So much gratitude. And you're correct. I just feel badly it went downhill and the name was attached to it. So that's a good point. To the tenacity, one of the ways I advocated for my kids in school was they wanted to build a building in a piece of land that has these ancient woods. And it wasn't that we didn't want the kids coming, although we were called terrible names because we were fighting to save our woods. I ended up with our fifth grade teacher who's no longer living, Mr. Nickel. He would take the kids into the woods and cut out the buckthorn, and there was these actual endangered plants in this woodland. And I got on the phone with eventually the Botanic Garden here in Chicago. I was talking to people from the Department of Natural Resources at the state level, like on the phone for hours, and you learned what questions to ask to get you farther up the chain. And I learned so much that I didn't necessarily need to learn, but it was like the little engine that could. I called it the little plant that could, because without this one little plant in our woodland, they would have torn the whole place down. And we all enjoy this woodland in our neighborhood. We walk our dogs through there, our kids play in there. But just the learning process of how to find and dig deep and just not take no for an answer and keep trying anyway, we really can make a difference. And I would hope women out there who are battling anything, stay the course because it is really gratifying to get a yes and make a difference. And for sure, that's what you have done. So let's talk
Thanks for
about
sharing that.
your
That's a
life
great accomplishment.
now. Stephanie put up an Instagram yesterday because of this hair care journey. Now she's a big advocate for what she puts in her body and the body of her family. And she was at a farm buying cheese and a cow mood, and I love cows. So, it made me so happy all day yesterday. I kinda kept listening to it. It was perfect timing. The cow was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be famous too."
It's so funny because I was like trying to get the cow in the shot to show that I'm at a farm and it moved, but then it was like moo. I was like, okay,
Exactly.
we got it. And then now I can walk around.
Yeah. So whatever order you wanna start with, whether it's organic eating or healthy hair, I'd love to find out how you developed your own product and, like, because that's not easy.
Yeah. I mean, the food journey has been ongoing, and as a parent, it is so much pressure because I'm like, I just got this little body. My son is only 4. And I mean, that being said, it's like I was raised on frozen microwave dinners, and
Mhm.
I mean, I couldn't be doing things like more differently. And by all means, like there are people who absolutely have to rely on that. I'm very privileged to be able to cook and be able to drive 30 minutes to a farm and get things, but it's been so overwhelming to learn. And so it's helped me kind of understand why a lot of people come to my content about hair and they kind of like, oh my gosh, like what? Or even sometimes resist and push back because it's often so different than what they grew up with, very literally. For a lot of people, how we do our hair is cultural, it's familial, and, for me, it was not because 'cause I'm the only one in my family with curly hair. I've been figuring it out for myself my whole life,
Wow.
but with no agency when I was younger, and now with as much agency as one can derive from self-educating.
Somewhere in your family line, somebody had curly hair
Right,
and
just not
married
in the
somebody.
not in the household that I was brought up in.
Yeah.
Like, I think my uncle has naturally curly hair that he keeps, like, this short. No one who could educate me had it, and so, yeah, I mean, it's been a journey of wanting to just make other people's lives easier. That's where product creation finally came in because it was like, "Okay, I'm teaching, I'm teaching, I'm teaching." Like, people are like, "What do I get? What do I not get?" And that's so important. But what people really want to know is just like, what can I click and buy right now? And I had a hard time because the only products I could find for hair that I really felt comfortable sharing with others after what happened with Diva, which I felt so responsible for, as far as those who used it because I used it were products from Europe that were really, really expensive and sometimes were difficult to access. Like they would be sold out for long periods of time. And then people had all this fear, like, what else can I use when I don't have this or if I can't afford this? So when I set out to help Holistic Hair Tribe, which is Simply Organic Beauty, they're a company in Tampa in St. Pete. Florida, which I live in Orlando, Florida, so it's actually quite local for me. They were the importers of these European products and I told them, I'm really like I'm comfortable with these ingredients, but they're not performing the way I'd like them to. It's just not user friendly. I feel like it wasn't made for our kind of curly hair we have here in the
Mm.
US. And also they're just unreal expensive and they just kept getting more expensive. And I said, I'm going to make products. Do you like, you're going to lose all my customers when I do, or we can do it together. And the truth was that I didn't have a dollar to put into making my own products, but I didn't tell them that.
I love
They
it.
saw, yeah.
Right.
So
It's how you present, Stephanie. That's the thing. It's like you show up empowered and believing in yourself, right? Which is what I help people do. And who's to say they believed you? Of course.
people don't
Yeah.
say no to me that often. And I think maybe it's daughter of an attorney. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just knew what I needed to do. I knew that that was what needed to happen next. And, if they said no, I was going to figure it out. Trust me. I wouldn't be here 5 years later without something I could recommend that was better. So that was how we got started with the creation of my leave-in conditioner, which was the first product, which was basically like a test to see if people would really like what I created. And it ended up being one of their top 5 sellers out of everything that they offered on their website. And that's without them marketing it at all. I was the only one marketing that product while they were marketing everything else that they sold. So they were like, okay, she's got something here. And we created the full line and we started working on that. And that's how Curl State came to be, which for those who want to check out Curl State, mycurlstate.com is where I have my actual recommendations and my guide that explains how to use the products and my discount code and everything like that. But these are products that come in glass packaging. Like nobody
Yeah.
was doing that. You know, we have sustainable paper boxes. Like this, it's as plastic free as like products can get. And that's not just for our health, it's also for the planet. I mean, the beauty industry creates an insane amount of waste. And then with creating the supplement, that's a whole nother story because I know that Laurie, you know about my husband's alopecia probably from social media. Did you
Oh,
see
yeah, I
that?
forgot. Yes, yes.
Like holes in his hair. Like it was the biggest. We're both professionals and neither of us have ever seen alopecia like this before. It was wild.
And
And
just out of nowhere, remind me.
we were going through a lot. It's personal, but we were having a very
Right.
hard time. And that is how his body handled the stress. And
Interesting.
hair
Yeah.
loss is your body saying like something needs to change. It
Mhm.
can be from a plethora of things. And so I dug into research as I do to try to figure out what could support his body to grow his hair back. It was so difficult to see him lose his confidence.
And hair really, just to cut in, oh my gosh, it's our identity. It's how we identify with our beauty, like you said, our culture. It's such a definer of our persona, and when people lose their hair, it does so much to our insides just by what's happening outside. I have a friend, of course, unfortunately, I'm sure everyone out there has someone or knows someone going through chemotherapy, losing hair, and thank goodness the wigs have sort of caught up, a little better, but still, it's just a terrifying and depleting episode in your life, and even just the little bit I had, it was just like, "Oh my god," I felt like everybody could see this little bald spot on my head. So continue with your story. So you're advocating for your husband. I love that.
Yeah, I just had to figure it out. I mean, like you said, I mean, and as a professional too, he was in the salon. His client, like, you feel like your clients can't trust you because it's like, it looks like you can't figure out your own hair problems. It was so layered for him, you know? He was like, well, the problem is probably stress. How do we just get rid of that? And that is so hard. So many people face that. We are such a stressed society. So if you
Yeah.
think that all you can do is have less stress and you're like, well, I can't change my job. I can't change my kid. I can't change whatever my situation is, my aging parents, like whatever your stress is, right? And to say like, well, just do more yoga, meditate more. For someone with a slammed schedule, it feels like another thing to do. So I was like,
Mm.
what's literally like everyone wants a magic pill.
Yeah, they do.
I was like, I got to figure out a magic pill. So that's how Total Hair Plus came to be, which is my hair supplement. I had him on like $100 a month worth of different individual vitamins and it was working. And so I found a lab that does things very clean. No, like, I mean, they will do whatever I tell them to do, I've learned, which
Mm.
is great. You know, they don't have, not all of their clients are people who necessarily care about all of the ingredients. But when I want to improve the formula, they're like, so far, they've been like, we can do that, you know, and
Amazing.
that's been a journey. It's not my wheelhouse supplement, you know, that's so new to
Yeah.
me. But I think the lab and I have a good collaboration where they have that expertise that I don't have, whereas I have the intention that they don't necessarily have to a different level. And together we're
Mhm.
creating something great and it's helping so many people. I have a lot of people on monthly subscriptions. And for me, I was on it for about a year and I'm not
Mm.
on it anymore. The Curl State products do have hair growth ingredients. I have not
Yeah.
seen my hair start falling out since stopping the supplement, but it definitely got my hair where it needed to get in the time that
Mm.
I was taking it. Whereas I feel like if you need to do the most, the best thing you could do is use both. And even someone with straight hair could use the shampoo from Curl State, which works for all hair types. It has rosemary oil, which has been clinically proven to be as effective as minoxidil without side effects. And it
Mm.
has copper tripeptide 1, which is a very
Use that on my face.
exactly. It's a big in
Yeah.
like our scalp is our skin, like it is,
Yep.
but it's actually just much more porous and there's much more blood vessels close to the surface. So what we put on our scalp affects our health more than what we put on our face.
All right. So remind me because your hair is beautiful now, but when we were going through the diva debacle, did you shave your head because your hair was also clumping out, or you just chose to start over? I can't remember. Maybe a little both.
I had no desire to continue trying to manage my hair in the condition that
Okay.
it was. I had an understanding that hair is a fabric. It doesn't reproduce the way our skin does. So when it's really severely damaged, like you will manage it until you eventually cut it off, which means it's not going to magically become super healthy hair again. It can be
Mhm.
improved. I think if I had had the products I now have, that I might have not cut it, but I didn't. I didn't have access to anything that would help enough for it not to be so difficult to manage that it to me wasn't worth having. I hoped that if I cut it all off, it would come back in healthy, and that is when I learned that these products had affected me at a follicle level, maybe even deeper, because the hair
Mm.
growing out of my head was the wrong color.
With you. I mean, you posted such raw content and it helped all of us, but there was a couple where you were like, "I'm really freaked out," and this was before you had your child, obviously, and you were like, "What's gonna happen, when I wanna start having a family?" I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know, and neither do you." You literally tears. I mean, the fear and the anger, and you mentioned the responsibility that you felt to your clients because of your recommendation. That's so much stress. I mean, out of the goodness of your heart, you mentioned the word intention, and in my sphere, it's all about intention. And your intention, of course, is to do no harm. You're a caregiver of people's hair, right? You're in the wellness industry, whether you identify like that or not. You're a therapist for sure, because we all know in this industry, anybody that comes to you one on one, you become their pseudo therapist. So I'm so sorry that your heart took a hit as well during that time. And I just wanted to acknowledge there were so many of us right there with you. And I just so appreciate your bravery and your courage and your authenticity through it all and still. So,
Oh, thank you so
you're
much.
you're
That really means a lot
so
to me.
badass.
And it's like
You're
it's actually so meaningful to hear you, like, remember something that I shared from
oh,
so long ago
like,
because
I'm getting teary-eyed now, like,
yeah, it's a
yeah.
lot. It was a lot, and it's hard to even, like, remember what it was like. I was so caught up in trying to save everybody else that I
Mhm,
didn't sit with my own feelings much, and I actually when I got pregnant, I stopped working in the salon, and that leave ended up being about a year and a half, and a lot
mhm,
of that was I needed to heal on my own. I needed to stop physically showing up for others for a little bit. And especially, I was trying to like protect the sacred space of pregnancy and early motherhood. But like, I was traumatized, like it
mhm,
was so hard. It was so much pressure. People would fly from around literally the globe to come see me in Miami or in Orlando. I was working both at
mm,
the time. And I didn't have a magic pill. I didn't. Like,
yeah,
I mean, they were so happy at the end, so happy to have learned from me, but I couldn't I wanted to give them their old hair back. That was what I
mm,
wanted, I'm an empath. Like, I can feel
yeah,
and was so used to before feeling every single client having reached their destination, and knowing that having to say like, no, this is going to be an ongoing journey. It was so hard. It was heartbreaking. And I kind of fell out of love with my job for a while. It was tough. I can't like name it as just one thing that made it like that for me. But
mhm,
also my brain was impacted by the chemicals from DivaCurl. I used to struggle to communicate for some period of
mhm,
time. It affected my language. So that was part of also taking the step back. Conversation is a huge part of my appointment. It's about education. We're not doing small talk like at all. And I would not remember like what a client literally just said to me. It was physically painful to think. That was just one of the many ways. But I wanted to give some hope to anyone listening who maybe is feels like their cycle on there might have been affected by like products that they're using. And that could be your hair products, that can be plugins in your house, and like any source of synthetic fragrance that you might be encountering,
mhm,
plastics from other sources. All of these things are hormone disruptors. And as Laurie mentioned, like I was scared. I didn't get my period for 6 months before I cleaned up my hair products and also cleaned up, based on what I had learned, other things in my lifestyle. And when I had been on a cleaner lifestyle for about maybe a year when I decided to try to get pregnant. And I did. I got pregnant in the first month that I tried to get pregnant, that checked my cycle. And before that, did notice like that my cycle was more regular. And like now I'm at a place where I don't know, where this is a wellness channel. I'm hoping it's okay that I'm talking
Yeah,
about
of
this. Like
course.
this is to
Yeah,
woman
you
to
can
woman.
cough, you can get down and
Talk
dirty,
about my
you can
period is what I
of
want to talk
course.
about. Because
That's
listen,
why
like
you're here. Let's get to it.
for women, this is one of the ways that we can kind of see like how our body's doing. And
Yeah.
whether someone wants to reproduce or not, fertility is a sign of longevity. They're connected. And obviously it changes with age in natural ways, but we're changing in unnatural ways. All of the PCOS, all of the perimenopause, these are not issues that women were facing 20, 30 years ago, the way that we're facing them today. So it's
Mhm.
unnatural. It's being caused by our environment, but that means that we can do something about it. So it should be like put a smile on your face, make you hopeful. Like, oh my gosh, wait, I don't have to just allow this to happen to me. I can learn and I can change things and I can heal. And so now, like, my nutrition and my toxin avoidance is at a place where what it's done for my cycle is I have a 4 day period. It's always 4 days. It's a 28-day cycle, almost to the day. I have almost no cramping, no like super heavy irregular bleeding, no spotting in between. Like it's predictable, it's not painful, it doesn't put me out. And that it couldn't be more different from what I was experiencing before. I mean, I'm actually planning a blog post on this suit about how I accidentally
I hope
saved.
so.
I have a Substack now that I have like
Oh, I do
I
too.
did a lot at first. We'll have to share our things, but
Yeah, I
I
know.
was doing a
Yeah.
lot, and then I was like, "Okay, I feel like I've said everything that was, like, already in my head that I wanted to say." And
Yeah.
now I'm like, "Okay, trying to think of some new things that I can share," but that's one of them. Like, I accident it happened on accident. I wasn't set out to have a better cycle, but it
Uh,
happened, and I think I
yeah.
understand how.
So, you're taking me back because I'm looking at you, and your hair is how I had my hair in high school, almost exactly. And so I had bangs, and I'm like, I'm kind of like maybe I should get bangs again. Anyway, so I had hair just like that, unless I dried it straight. And to
Yeah.
dry my hair straight back in the day, back in the 80s, I had a men's Gillette hair dryer because it was the only one that had a brush attached, right? And here I am, people who know me way back then, it would get so fucking hot. I'd have to open up all the windows, even in winter. So I would dry my hair with this men's hair dryer. And of course, it would get overheated. So you have to blow into it. Anybody out there, I know some people are with me on this. So you could get it going again. And then for some reason, now I got out the hot curlers. So then I'm curling my hair. I had bangs like this. Anyway, that was my going out hair, right? And for years, after I met my husband, like the first time I dried my hair straight, we were going somewhere I considered fancy. He kind of looked at me, it's going to go back, isn't it? Like to the other way. He didn't understand. I can do this and I can also do that. It was the cutest thing. But back in high school, I was raised by hippies. I talk about that a lot. Got the book Our Bodies Ourselves from my sisters, and we talked about odors and smells and how to know if you're about to have your period, or if you're having sex, you don't want to get pregnant, and your discharge changes, right? We can get there. Like if it's more fluid, you're really fertile. When it gets tacky, you got to learn your body. Fortunately, again, and unfortunately, there's no better way to learn about your body when you've got a health issue, right? But prior to that, everybody needs to understand their cycle naturally. There's a lot of women like my daughter's generation in their 30s and even younger now, going off synthetic birth control. They're back to using condoms or using the moon cycle, which, you've got to be really careful out there if you're doing that. So it's really, I feel like there's been this swing back to healthier, more natural, organic. And so that's really exciting to see as like a sage at my age, to see you guys coming up the chain saying, no, enough, I'm done. I want to take my power back and understand my body and how it's designed, right?
Our
I
bodies are so resilient. It's amazing. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I was a birth control person too, My parents put me on birth control when I was 14 because they were so
yeah.
afraid of me getting pregnant, and
Mhm.
I didn't take my agency of my body back for a very long time.
Yeah, it's a process. All right, so you're a badass, you're focused, you're a professional. I never had heard about C, 2C, 3C types of curls, porosity, how to change it if you can, how to test it so you know. So, how would you like to educate my listeners with their curls? And you can start with me, but it's not all about me, but a little bit right now it is because here's my thing. I have these little tiny clips. So my hair gets really flat on the top and so I walk around and I put like these little clips in my hair because I want to have like lift. You know what I mean? And so it gets really flat in the back. I also have some balding back here from DivaCurl, thank you. But like if I could just go like that and look like you know, without looking like a chihuahua, that's the cut I'm looking for. But I don't want to be like a mop. So
There was a lot there.
I have some really good curls that I'm in love with, and then some that just look like that and that I don't love. And I have to be like, no, behave yourself. Okay.
So
See?
I know she's gonna, you're like, oh God, now I'm touching it.
I
Now, like, now,
know.
oh my gosh, what do I do?
Yeah.
I'm over here like my hair's still damp because I had to multitask getting ready for this, which when I'm multitasking and getting ready, this is a handheld fan for like I would keep this in my purse. This is one of
Ooh,
my favorite little tricks. And I like around the house, I'm like cleaning and I'm like moving pillows and whatever. And I'm holding this over my hair to help it air dry faster, but it's cold air because it's like
yeah.
it's actually I don't ever turn the heat on in my house, so it's pretty cool today, and even in Orlando.
I want that link. I'm gonna link it. I
Sorry, yeah,
have
this is just from
friends.
Amazon, and I literally
Oh,
just turn it on, and we always want to blow like downward, not upward, because then you're going to
oh,
create
see,
frizz, right?
I
So
do
people
that.
are diffusing like this, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's why you're frizzy. So instead, I recommend my clients hold the so pretend this is a diffuser. I'm not saying to do this with a handheld dryer. When you're doing a handheld dryer with no warmth, you're really just speeding up air drying because it's cool air. It's not going to dry very quickly. You're not going to get any. It's not worth all of this effort, right? The point of
Mm,
using this is to make your life easier, just get your hair dry faster. But when we're diffusing and we're trying to create tighter curls, which not everyone needs to do, I don't really do my hair like that because my hair shrinks a lot on its own. But for those who need their hair to shrink, I recommend that they scoop their hair up with one hand, hover the diffuser over like this, because then our airflow is downward and
mm,
we're actually scooping and getting more lift all the way to the root. Whereas when you go in with the diffuser, it's just kind of like pushing and not all the hair always stays in it and it doesn't really get good scrunching near the root.
mm.
Also it's pushing air up. And so then you're going to get little flyaways, which that's what frizz is. It's just flyaways. We've just made a derogatory term for it for curly
Yeah.
hair, you know. But
We
anyway, it's
should
just
we should
flyaways,
call them escapees.
little escapees. They're flyaways. That's what they are. So when
Yeah.
we see like someone with straight hair has their hair up in a ponytail and they have little pieces, we're not like
Yeah.
frizz, we're like flyaways. Anyway, so these are the kind of techniques that I've developed based on my understanding of hair science, right? So we know the
Mhm.
cuticle layer grows downward. We can talk about porosity. We can talk about curl patterns. I can quickly go over that. Just throw away the curl pattern chart. It's totally useless.
Mm,
Figuring out what to use for your hair has nothing to do with the shape of your curl. And you can change the shape of your curl based on how much water you use, what products you use. Are you finger coiling, using a brush? Like all of those things change the way your curl pattern shows up. Your curl
mm.
pattern is not a stagnant thing because of that. So putting it onto a chart is really not it's not consistent and it's also not useful because you shouldn't be picking what products you use or what techniques you use based on your curl pattern. You should be choosing those things based on your porosity, which I'll explain what that is, and
Mhm.
maybe your texture, which is your hair fine or medium or coarse? What's the diameter of your hair strand? How much product can it hold? That's
Well,
what.
so let me just digress for a second. When I dry my hair, I do the head flip all the way over and diffuse like the back of the nape of my neck and then underneath while my head is inverted. And then I stand up and do one of these things. So now I have to relearn how to do my hair
That's
when
why
I
you
dry it.
think that's why you're complaining about this part of your hair.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
just in the center of all of that. You're doing all this styling, and right in the center is this hair that's being pushed together by the underneath and the top that's really getting no individual attention. So instead, if you were to
Mm,
diffuse from side to side, leaning deep to the side, shaking your roots to get them unstuck to your head, because when they're stuck to your head, they're going to dry flat and frizzy and then diffusing like this instead, then you're actually able to access the crown, the front, the back, the underneath, everything. And then you do the other
mm,
side like this. You can flip those
mm.
layers all the way over if your hair is long enough. And the
It
same
is.
thing, we're
It's
actually
so long.
getting,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, my
So
hair's
like
still
that.
damp, so I can show this, but we're diffusing instead with these deep
So
V's
not
to
from
the
here.
side. We're
Yeah.
not
So all
taking the
mhm.
underneath up because then how do we access the crown? That's why when we come back up after all that work, it's
That
like,
I'm holding this and I'm going like that.
right. So that's you're
Yeah.
not getting any lift there. And if you wait until your hair is dry to try to get lift, my hair's still
Yeah.
damp. I'm ruining it now, but
Hi.
it's okay. Normally, you know my hair. Normally, it's a lot curlier and bigger up top. It's very
Yeah.
wet up here right now. So for anyone watching this, go look at my Instagram for my hair. Don't
Yeah.
judge it based on this.
No.
But
Her hair's unbelievable. I mean, it's
I have
unbelievable
this much
there.
volume up here, and
You
that's,
do.
but when it's, so what I do is I air dry until my hair has a cast set, which this products that I use, the Curl State is going to form like a cast around the edge of the hair if you just leave it alone while it's drying. Then I want to get rid of that cast because I want the curls themselves to expand. The cast is acting like control tights. It's squeezing the curl, making it skinnier. So volume is not just about like how much hair you have. It's like how big do your curls get? If you're using products that squeeze your curls small and then you wait until it's fully dry to remove that thing that's squeezing it, which is that cast, then your hair is going to keep the shape that it dried in. You're not going to get volume after. And the same is true of if you're like letting the top of your head dry straight and then you're trying to make it curly after
Mhm.
it's dry, it's fruitless. It's not going to work.
That's why I gotta use this.
Right. So
Yeah.
you have to work what you want into your hair as you're drying it. It has to dry where you want it to be. You can't really do anything about it after the fact.
I know for me, if I am leaving the house and I'm supposed to have a dry head, I cannot get a good curl drying my hair completely wet. I do wait, and my husband even knows, if we're going out to dinner at a certain time, I'm like, okay, I got to get in the shower like an hour and a half before because I know I need to dry my hair room temperature, just air dry for a period of time before I attempt to diffuse it.
Right.
So I do that.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So before we move on too much, porosity, because we mentioned it and it's so important, is the hair's natural ability. It's natural ability, not with product or anything like that. It's natural ability to retain water, not to receive it. A lot of people get caught up in that. They're like, well, my hair gets wet fast or it takes a long time to dry. And I don't speak in time ever because
Mm.
so many things can affect the amount of time something takes, and time is relative. So a short time, a long time, what you think is a long time, I might think is a short time. So we don't talk like that. I try to talk in things that are universally able to be understood, like totally objective. With porosity, it's your cuticle layer. It's the outer layer of your hair strand. What it's supposed to do is when it gets wet, it's supposed to open up, lift up a bit. Looks like shingles on a roof. So imagine like here it is, it's dry, it's nice and tight when it's dry. That's what it's supposed to be if it's healthy. Most people do not have a nice tight cuticle when their hair is dry, which is what's causing their problems. But when it gets wet, it's supposed to lift. And that's because the pH of water is higher than the pH of hair. And a higher pH is what lifts hair. That's how you color hair. That's why coloring chemicals are so harsh, is because they're higher
Mm.
pH. They have to lift the hair in order to change the hair on the inside. So that cuticle layer is protecting the inside of your hair. So the water is going to lift it a bit. It's not supposed to lift a lot, just enough for water to get in. So the hair gets hydrated. And then as it dries, it's supposed to come back down nice and tight. That's a healthy functioning cuticle. It's not stuck in one position. It moves and it goes from tight to loosening up a bit. That's healthy, normal porosity. Now, when your hair is not coming down tight when it dries, that's when you start to have that dryness. That's called high porosity. High means open, high porous hair. Like the word porous is a dictionary word. That's why I don't know why people argue over porosity. It's Webster Dictionary. What porous means, it's open, right? So if your cuticle layer is raised, then your hair strand is open. And when it's open, it's going to release the water that it's supposed to retain when it dries. And that's why it will look dull, frizzy. It'll feel coarse to the touch, like rough to the touch. It'll not have shine and it breaks easily because hair that's extremely dry is like hard and it can just snap.
Okay.
Now I
Wow.
know everyone's thinking, what about low porosity? Because they all think they have low porosity hair. And I'll just tell you, I have not had someone with low porosity sit in my chair in at least 5, 6 years. And I don't know if
Yeah.
I actually ever did. And that's because low porosity hair is hair that literally will not take in any water. The cuticle layer is so tight and it doesn't come up. And the way that you fix that is using a lot of heat to try to open it up and it like masks some like heavy ingredients that make
Yeah.
turn the hair into mush and push the cuticle open. And so all these people who actually have hair that's high porosity are following directions for low porosity. They're making their porosity higher and making
Mm.
their problems worse. But the products they're using are masks, so they hide the problem temporarily, but they make it worse over time.
And we do that with our skin too. So, like, it's antithetical to think put oil on your face if you're oily. But if you're stripping that oil with like witch hazel or astringents, it's just going to produce more oil. So, there's a little connection there. Okay. And then what else? So, I would love to know how to use your products because you had said the leave in conditioner. I never go to one of those because to me, when I leave in conditioner, I feel like I look like a greasy dish rag because I probably am using either too much or the wrong one. And am I supposed to leave the house just and squish to condition go? Or what do I do? So if I want to buy
I
your
love that
whole
you
entire line, I want to take all of your products. So you've never met me before. Well, you really haven't. I'm sitting in your chair. Go.
Okay, so we just talked about porosity, and I'm sure
Okay.
everyone's question after that is, well, how do I fix my porosity? I definitely have an unhealthy porosity. And that's why I made these products because I didn't have products that fixed porosity. So, first of all, let's define leave in conditioner, which was the first product that I created. And the reason it was the first one I created was because I couldn't find a leave in conditioner product that did what it promised to do. I liked the idea of it. And I did feel like when people leave a cream styler in their hair, they get better moisture retention, especially if they don't have a healthy, normal porosity yet. So there's a difference between leaving your conditioner in your hair and a leave-in conditioner. So
Mm.
there's conditioner and there's leave-in conditioner. A conditioner is a product that was made to be rinsed out. That's how it's formulated. A leave-in conditioner is just a marketing term for a cream styling product that's meant to be left in your hair. So they're very different. Like I never tell people to leave their conditioner in their hair if they use a
But
conditioner anymore. And that's because that product wasn't made to be left in the hair. It wasn't formulated that way. Now, the reason I called my cream styler a leave-in conditioner is because it is, I mean, I wanted it to sell. It's a very hot word in the curly hair community. People like leave-in conditioners, and that's what it does, is it conditions the hair. Conditioning the hair means improving the condition of the hair. So by that definition, my shampoo is a conditioner, my leave-in is a conditioner, my gel is a conditioner, and my oil is a conditioner because they all improve the condition of the hair.
okay.
Now, what people have come to expect from conditioner is that it's going to make their hair feel super like slimy, like mush, super silky and slimy, but that's not what hair feels like. That's what conditioner feels like. And what happens is we're using these products that coat the hair like those slippery, slimy conditioners do, is that they are creating unnecessary weight on the hair
Mm.
and they're usually not actually fixing the problem, they're just hiding it. So this line was designed to fix the problems. They don't do an amazing job hiding problems. So I will say, like, sometimes it takes people a couple of uses to really get it and to really be like, oh my gosh, yes, this is the results I was expecting if their hair is really, really damaged. So you would start with balance, which balance is the shampoo, which it's crazy because people will ask me like, Stephanie, if I can just get one of your products, which one should I get? And when I tell them the shampoo, they're mad because they want it to
Yeah.
be the styling product because they think that's the solution. They've been grabbing different stylers all the time, hoping one is going to make their hair finally look good, not realizing that their cleanser is causing the majority of the problems that the stylers are struggling to fix.
Yeah.
So
Because it's stripping. Yeah.
not just that, so many reasons. I mean, most product lines were made to make you want more products.
It
They don't want to fix your problem. They want to sell you more solutions. That's not what I set out to do. I set out to genuinely fix my clients' problems, even if it makes me less money in the long run. So Balance has apple cider vinegar. A lot of these products contain the like little hot topic DIY things that curly
Mhm.
girlies are doing on YouTube, but created into a professional product that will not go bad and smell funky. You don't have to keep it in the fridge. You can keep it in
Yeah.
your shower.
I was
Um,
making my own, like, flax seed, when I was trying to find a remedy that was all natural. Yep. And I had
Flaxseed
to
gel.
diffuse it through a pantyhose. I mean, I went through the whole thing.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. The idea
Yeah.
here is really to make your life simple finally.
Thank you.
easy, consistent results and like just hair products. Like honestly, my hair is so easy now. I could cry talking about it because I struggled for so long. I was like, I've said to my husband several times, like, even if I couldn't sell these products to other people, I would just be blissful for having them for
Mm.
myself and being able to finally my job is easier at work. Like I'm getting the results on my clients that I always wanted to get. Yeah. So we
So
start with that.
balance.
You have to
Yeah.
use it like a conditioner. So you massage it into your scalp. It's going to fully cleanse, get off any buildup, but without stripping your hair of its natural oils and microbiome that your scalp needs. And it's also going to boost healthy growth from within. So massage it into your scalp for a minute or so. It's got rosemary oil, copper peptides, like we talked about. And it's then you're going to work it through your whole hair. And I have plenty of tutorials on my
I've seen,
Instagram
yeah.
and YouTube, but you actually want to push it through. And the technique that I use, I only use my hands because combs and brushes, they're not as effective at smoothing the cuticle layer the way that you can when you squeeze your hair with your fingers. So that's what
Okay.
I really like to do. It's like a massage for the hair and I'm finger combing and squeezing my fingers together. And then I make sure that that's on for at least a few minutes before I rinse it out, just like you would a shampoo. It's not going to strip. I mean, like it's just like you would a conditioner, not going to strip or anything like that. If you have a mirror in the shower, you can watch your hair get healthier and curlier right in front of your eyes. But then you'll be tempted to leave it in, but don't. You rinse it out. It's not made to be left in. And then after that, what I like to do is I remove unnecessary water from the hair. So I like to use either if someone's got hair that's high porosity right now, that means it's going to lose moisture easily. So we're going to use a t-shirt or we're going to use a cotton material that's smooth. There's one on Amazon that I like that I can share with you. It's literally just a thick t-shirt material, 100% cotton. And we're going to just press the hair where it's too wet. Anywhere that frizzes up really fast, we're going to not touch with the towel. So I call that targeted towel drying. So I go
Mm,
through, a lot of people, they hold a lot of excess water in their roots. I'll squeeze their roots with the towel. And, a lot of people are drying their hair like this and they have frizzy ends is like, that's where you should not be towel drying. Towel dry up in your root where you're not getting any curl because you're leaving such heavy amounts of water in your hair.
mm,
So you target your towel drying. Then we're going to apply the stylers, which are the gel and the leave-in conditioner, which are called Replenish and Define. And I like to mix them together in my hands. They're both creamy. So a lot of gels and creams you can't mix together. They curdle. These products do mix together perfectly, which is called in the professional world, we call it cocktailing versus layering, which is mixing them together versus putting one on
mm,
at a time. So we mix them together in our hands, cocktail them, which just makes it one less step. It's so much easier. I like to do a 1-to-1 ratio. And again, I'm just finger combing it all through and just making sure I get a full saturation of the entire hair. How much depends on the person's hair, many different factors. For me,
mhm,
I'm able to use 2 pumps of each product, which is 2 pumps of the leave-in conditioner and 2 pumps of the gel in
mm,
total, but doing that 1-to-1 ratio. So
'kay.
then after that, I do a very thin layer of Recover, which is my oil. This is a hair and scalp oil. So it's going to be applied both to the hair and the scalp, but in a very small amount. It has shea, argan, castor oil. So you can see here, it's another beautiful glass bottle with a
Yeah,
glass.
because back in the day, while you're opening that up, back in the day when hair loss was happening, what do you go to? Castor oil or
Right.
black strap molasses or something. So it's like I've all these things are familiar to me. I love
Yes,
it.
this is
Yeah,
100% natural product. The problem
yeah.
is when you're buying those ingredients raw, they're not formulated for the hair and the scalp, and a lot of the times they
No,
don't
they were
wash
not.
off.
No, they
They
do
don't
not.
wash off, and so then
No.
you have buildup, right?
I'm like,
This
"Oh my
comes
god, what
off
did I do?"
I bet it looked crazy for a little bit. So
Yeah.
this was made for hair and scalp, and it comes off literally with just warm water even. So
Yeah.
for those who don't necessarily wash their hair all the time, or they might just do a refresh with just water and reapplying their stylers, they don't have to worry
Mhm,
about buildup with this product. And so I take just like literally I can just demonstrate because I actually didn't put oil on my hair yet today, and I take, like, maybe 2 or 3 little drops, which a drop, not a dropper full, and I rub it in my hands, and then I would coat it over my hair, focusing on anywhere that gets the driest. So for me, it's, like,
mm,
right here in the front and, like, my top right here, and I focus the oil there first. Wherever you touch your hands to first is always gonna suck up the most product, and then I go
mm,
through the rest of my hair, and this is wet, right? Imagine that I had just put on the stylers, so I'm coating it
mhm,
all over, And then if I need to scrunch, I scrunch. Some clients have
Mm,
very curly hair that they don't want it to be any tighter, or they might even be trying to elongate it. I'm not going to scrunch it. And we're not
mm.
removing excess water with the scrunching because we did that spotted towel
With the
drying.
towel.
We're not wasting any product, right? How many people are like dripping all their hair products out into a
Yeah.
towel or onto the floor or their clothes? And then I use it again at the end after fully drying or to scrunch out the cast of the product. I take a couple drops more, scrunch everything out, and then I massage my roots. So, because we also have the rosemary and the copper peptides and everything for hair growth in this. So you can use a little bit of this on your scalp every day. I also use it on my face and my hands.
Yeah.
Your nails are made of like the same proteins and
Cuticle.
everything. My
Yeah.
nails have gotten so much healthier. I'll even sometimes after I shave my legs, I put some on my legs if they look a little bit dry. I love
Yeah.
it. I mean, it's everything. That's the whole journey. I mean, and then you
Okay.
diffuse or air dry. We kind of already talked about drying at the beginning.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's so much. You're amazing. I have a segment in my show called Joy on the Fives, and it's just a little way to introduce more joy in your day. So if you'd just like to share really quickly with people anything at all that brings you joy right in this moment besides this conversation, just share that if you'd like to.
Yeah, I would love to. So, actually, my most recent thing that I brought into my life that has really brought me a lot of joy is I've been getting into learning about tea, like wild
Ooh,
teas from different parts of the world. And as a mom, I don't get a lot of me time, but I've been setting time to myself about 10 to 20 minutes a day where I make my tea and I sit with my tea and I've been reading a book, like learning about Tao philosophy. It's just and it integrates really well with the tea. And I just like been having that little me tea time every day. And it's been incredible the way it's shifted how I present myself throughout the day, just feeling like I gave myself something that was just for me.
I love that. So I was going to ask you if you have any woo woo practices, and tea meditation is one of those things. It's like a cutting edge trend where I call it the Ally McBeal coffee scene. If you're not probably old enough to remember Ally McBeal, but there's a scene where she goes to Starbucks and the other character and she's about to drink it and she's like, no, you have to first make sure that you have, all of the smells and the aromas and like that taste. So I love that you do that. I actually have a tea formulated from my friend here who does organic spices. She says her spice cabinet is her medicine cabinet, so you really connect with her. I'll send you my tea. It's called Illuminate and it's antioxidant, bone healthy, has only organic ingredients. It's got this beautiful bluish purple color when you let it steep, and so it's really, really yummy, so I'll
Oh, I'm
get your
so
address after
excited.
this.
My
Yeah,
husband got me
yeah,
this beautiful tea making device that really it's all glass, of course, and it
yeah,
shows the tea brewing. Oh, love this. I'll send you
yeah.
some pictures of it.
My
I get it.
sister-in-law, she's a huge tea drinker, and she has, like, one of the balls, and my daughter just got me a big stainless steel strainer that you just put right in your mug, so that works really well. I loved how you considered, you're an artist, so that's really, really wonderful and beautiful, and, yeah, we talked about intention, we talked about some sort of woo-woo ritual that you might do? And is there anything else that you'd like to tell the listeners, of course, how to find you, but anything else at all before we exit?
Laurie, it's been so amazing chatting with you. I wish every conversation that I had was like this and that I got to talk to like-minded women like you every single day, first of all.
Mm.
And if anyone wants to connect with me after listening to this episode, you can find me on Instagram, steph.mero. I'm on TikTok and YouTube as well. But my website, curlpromise.com, has a lot of great resources, not just the hair products I recommend, but I have also partnered with some of the lifestyle brands that have really changed my life, everything from clothing to drinking water and shower filters and stuff. So if you really want to, take out the guesswork and just get the recommended products that I've used and trust and personally use in my home, it's a great resource. And I just appreciate you having me on. It's been so much fun.
I appreciate, seriously, like I said, badass mama bear to all of us dealing with curly hair. And see, when I channel, I start rhyming. But you really share your story, connect with you so much, appreciate and respect your craft and your ability to want to share your journey and now your new tutorials. I mean, you guys go ahead to her Insta and the TikTok. It's beautiful to look at if you're not watching us on YouTube and you're just listening on the platforms. You can't get enough of this woman. She's amazingly beautiful and gorgeous and just spot on, authentic, no bullshit. She's going to tell you the truth, just like her brand says, the curl promise. Her promise is you're going to have a healthier head. So thank you so much, Stephanie. I really appreciate you being here on The Real and the Woo.